From the Fox Studios in downtown Panama City, it's Newsview with Lee Sullivan.
Let's talk about your endangered freedoms, news and views with an attitude. Good evening. It's Newsview. I'm Lee Sullivan, and once again, the pleasure of visiting with Ron Hart, infamous syndicated columnist, and as they say, a Southern libertarian, and I know that the demographics do make a difference. Thank you for coming back on.
Great to be back.
Gosh, boss, Acorn, International House of Pimps, Prostitutes, and Pornography, I mean, they're getting there, aren't they?
Yeah, they're you don't get too many consulting firms openly consulting the prostitution industry for a fee with our tax dollars, which also makes it really kind of nice. Know that you got $50 to $80 million the last few years, including under Bush now. Don't forget, Bush funded some of this stuff.
Yeah, please.
To Acorn, who in a repeated format, in a very systemic way, is basically helping people launder money, avoid taxes, shelter prostitutes, not only prostitutes, underage El Salvadorian prostitutes.
Bring them in, grow them up.
Yeah,
right.
So you're touching a lot of bases here. This is a very talented organization. If they were just Italian, they could become the mob.
Well, what about, do you think they make the Forbes list this year?
The Somali Pirates might, but I don't think these guys will. These are just in the, you know, and that was just, and it tells you two things. One, first of all, we'll talk about Obama in a second, but first of all, it tells you how brazen people actually are, and the tax dollars are used to do things like that, community organized people, and they're not doing honest, forthright things, and people have to be very upset about that. I was shocked to see that only 7 senators voted to keep funding them. Durbin and Casey of Pennsylvania, I was very surprised at that, voted to continue to fund them, which is amazing.
Tammany Hall. What can I say?
The other thing is, too, Acorn is very much tied to Obama. He was a community organizer himself. He also was did some illegal work for Acorn. So I think the next logical step is to see whether the acorn falls very far from the tree here, and whether they trace it back to him in terms of this.
Will there be any appetite to do that, Mr. Hart?
Not by the national media. They did a great piece where Fox had touched on the subject 322 times, and CBS and NBC 3.
Right.
So they're going to cover it up, and they block and tackle for the president. He is their guy. They are these press agents, so they're not going to say anything negative about the president.
And notable appearances, and if I may say, and you told me, y'all told me. See, I'm an old guy. Kanye West. Is that how you pronounce his name?
He did, yes.
What a class act, I think.
Yeah, he really is. The president, off the record, supposedly to ABC News, called him a jackass, which is the first time probably that the whole nation has agreed with anything the president has said, which I'm glad to see Obama do that. I think Obama has to calm this narcissist down. And of course, Kanye and the president, there's one thing that is common to both of them. They can't talk enough about themselves. Right. So poor Taylor Swift, I felt sorry for her. She had her moment there.
Where does she go when something like that happens? I mean, what a dork.
Well, she went to The View, which is, of course, the last place you want to go if you don't want to be interrupted. Talk all over you there. But she went to The View and made her case, and I thought she did it very classy. And Beyonce was very classy in her response. I thought Beyonce was just mortified that it happened, and she was very classy in how she responded to it.
Well, we've had Joe the plumber, and now we got Joe Wilson. Huh? You lie.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, he's a kind of benign South Carolina congressman who just went off the rocker, and the truth is Obama did lie. The illegal aliens were going to be covered. There's a possibility they would be covered under this bill. It had been tried several times to write into legislation that you had to show documentation to get Obamacare, and they kept voting it down. Democrats kept voting it down, and the Republicans kept quietly putting it in there, and they said, no, we're not going to say illegal aliens can't get it. We're not going to make them show any form of identification. As a result, effectively, they opened the door for illegals to get this Obamacare, and when he said it wouldn't be available to them, he was lying. He was playing loose and fast with the facts, and I'm glad the guy did it. I wish our Congress would be like the British system when they yell at each other. It'd be interesting that way. You know
what did they torture him or censor him, or they've done something horrible to him, pulled out his fingernail?
Well, I think they have today, before Congress, a motion to say it was out of protocol or something to the effect. to not censor him, but just to say it was wrong. So apparently, you can call someone a Nazi, you can call someone a socialist, but you can't say they lie. Yeah. Apparently, they've drawn the line there. It's like the censors; they have their own sense of censors there.
The president, as you write, has almost got his own TV series going on.
Yeah, exactly. He's demanded and gotten from the press more primetime airtime. At this pace, he will have is longer than Seinfeld on TV. He's
Did you say he was doing a commercial for Lopez?
Yeah, this is true. I'm not kidding. In the column, and it's very true. He does a promo for George Lopez show. Of course, that's a shout out to the all important Hispanic voter, which is the Hispanic voters are the future of which party gets elected. They both know that. The reason they're so gingerly about immigration, the reason they dance around the issues like that, is that, and as I call their immigration policy, no one left behind. They need a moment.
I'm good. You almost got me there.
They all basically pander to this very sensitive group, and because they're growing, they're having kids, they're coming in droves, and that's going to be the next demographic that sways the elections. So, unfortunately, we're all paying for it in forms of emergency room health care and schools, taxes. The schools are, some counties, half illegals, and we pay for it in our tax dollars, property taxes. So it's a tough issue.
Well, one would assume, perhaps without too much of a stretch, that a large portion of the health care bill was the legalization of, that next step in illegal immigrants having their...
Right.
Okay. Now, another thing that has been prominent in the news, didn't get much coverage, I don't believe, but citizens from all over this great nation, I think, gathered in D.C. for a Tea Party or some conservative, where in the world's our liberty and our Constitution?
Sure.
Where's America going?
Yeah, I think it's a great movement. They gathered there very peacefully, very sensibly. Sure, there were some bad signs. There were a couple that were the ABC and CBS and the mainstream liberal media showed of the more kooky type people. Now, you remember if that one woman, I can't think of her name right now, that protested the war in Crawford all the time.
With son was killed
in the war. Her name was Sheehan, Patty Sheehan or something.
That's it, yes, sir.
Whenever she had a one-person Crawford, Texas rally or protest, the cameras were all there on one person. Right. Now he has 75, 80, some people said 125,000 people in D.C. Mainstream media basically ignored it. And they would all go the one or two kooky people there with a maybe arguably racist sign, and put that and show they're just a bunch of kooks and right-wingers and racists is what they want to dismiss it as. And I think they're going to miss it. They're going to miss it, and this is going to bite them in the butt.
Ron Hart, we'll be right back.